Okay, so welcome everyone to our information session about the new initiative that the Penrith Chamber has launched. It's called the Chamber Collective, and very excited to have you all on. I will be recording this so I can share this with others that haven't been able to make it to this information session. But we launched this, we had an information session exactly a month ago. It was a face-to-face information session that we held at the coffee club down at the Nepean River, and had a fantastic turnout. Definitely, it was enough for us to get our first group up and running, and we've got nearly enough for our second group. And I'm sure after this session and others that watch it, hopefully we'll have our second group up and running by the end of May. So welcome everyone. So what I'll do is just go through this presentation. I'll invite questions. Feel free to unmute yourself if you do have any questions along the way. It's quite an informal presentation, and it'll be quite quick as well. So what are we launching? All right, so what we're launching is business support groups, and they're unlike other groups that might be running locally. There's a lot of networking and referral groups, groups that are focused more on referrals, building a sales team around you to refer business to. But this group that we're running and that we're launching is not that. It's more a business support group. So it is networking. You will get to know each other and meet each other, but it's about providing a safe environment for people to share ideas, learn from each other, get support with issues and challenges that you might be facing in your business. And it's all about having this mastermind group that you can lean on and learn from, and therefore improving your skills, your knowledge of business, skills in different areas, and effectively leveraging off of the experience of others. So as I said, as you can see in the third point here, it's about overcoming challenges, staying motivated as well, and by working with others, achieving more in your business. So the Chamber is all about supporting local businesses, and we do that in a variety of ways. We obviously have our monthly networking nights where people can connect with each other and meet other people and build those relationships and do business together. We also have an advocacy focus where we represent local businesses to different levels of government, so like local council, New South Wales government, and also federal. We also provide education opportunities as well, where we'll run education events. But this one here is really an extension of all of that. It's to create smaller groups instead of those larger groups, which are more networking focused and quite social. These smaller groups are an opportunity to share business topics and ideas, get to know people in a more intimate setting. And what we've found from the people who've joined the first group is they're finding that is now helping them to become more comfortable when going to the larger networking groups. They already know some key people, so it's a lot easier for them to be comfortable and therefore meet others in those larger groups as well. So these groups that we're launching, the Chamber Collective groups, will be meeting fortnightly in person. Down the track, we may also meet over Zoom, but I think it's important to build relationships to kick that off face to face. And they're limited to 15 people per group. We want to keep it quite tight, and only one person per industry in each group. So only one accountant, for example, only one business coach, only one printer, only one IT person, and so on. All right. And as I said, we did launch our first group, and that was only last week. So last Thursday. So it's very, very new, but it had a fantastic turnout, fantastic discussion, and I can really see how this is really going to help people in their businesses. Any questions so far? Feel free to either put it into your chat box or just unmute yourself if you have any questions. All right, so what these groups are not, these aren't referral groups, as I said before. Referrals may happen though, so it's natural that once you discuss your business with people, you're going to get to know people a lot more intimately, and as that trust builds, referrals will happen, but we're not focused on that. So don't join the business necessarily to generate business. Join the groups to build your business by sharing, helping others, and learning from each other. And they won't be counseling sessions. We have to be very conscious of time and that everyone's getting value from the discussions. And we will have a very strict set format, which I'll share with you in a minute. And there won't be any accountability either, apart from tracking everyone's attendance, which I think is important because you're taking a seat for your industry, and also, you're making a commitment to be there for others and to share ideas. So I think it's important that we at least track attendance, but we won't be tracking things like meetings that you have outside of these groups, referrals given, none of that. All right, so it's very low on the admin and the obligations and all of that red tape. And I know some other groups, there's quite a lot of that, and I don't want these groups to get bogged down in all of that red tape. So feel free, if you've got any questions, just to unmute yourself and chime in anytime. So here is the suggested format, and because these are quite new, we'll run with this format and we'll ask for feedback during the meetings and just to see if we need to refine this going forwards. So we all arrive for the Thursday morning group. We all arrive at around about 7:15 onwards for breakfast orders. Then we kick off at 7:30. We obviously welcome everyone. We note attendance and we go through the agenda for the morning, because each of these agenda items will have a certain topic or a certain person presenting. So we'll just run through that. Everyone will go around the room for a minute just to share their wins for the last fortnight, any updates in their business that others need to know about. We'll have a discussion topic. So I'll be initially managing that across all of the groups. So I will select a topic based on feedback from the group members. It could be on time management, it could be on social media, it could be on developing your leadership skills. So there'll be a discussion topic for that week or for that that fortnight's meetings, which everyone will discuss, and you'll get this prior to coming along to the meeting. All right, so you can have a think about a few points. Then every meeting there'll be a member education presentation, and I'll just flick over to an example of that. So you should be able to see this as well on screen. So this is the register for the next few weeks for the Thursday breakfast group. So we have members who put up their hand to give a very quick 10-minute presentation. It's not about selling their business, it's about educating the members about the area they specialize in, the service they provide, and something that the other members can learn from them. Okay, so Rachel's coming up next week. She's a copywriter, so she'll give us some tips about how to create blog content, what to look out for when creating content for your business. Justin's an IT specialist. He's going to give us a presentation on phishing attacks and so on. Then we're going to have an open forum. So if anyone has any challenges in their business or any questions that they have for the group, so I think that's going to be quite an important area. And from experience in other groups that I've been part of and that other members have been part of other organizations, that's quite a powerful area because there's always changes happening in business, challenges that we face. And one of the reasons we're running these groups is because we understand that people can be feel quite isolated in their businesses. So it's really providing that forum to discuss these issues. Then we round off the meeting just to review who's caught up for one-on-one meetings outside of the group meetings, and any kudos testimonials that they want to share about other members as well. All right. So even though we're not going to insist on having meetings with each other outside of these groups, I want to encourage it because I think it's important for people to catch up for a coffee and really learn more about what other people do. I caught up with Charles yesterday for a coffee. So we had a fantastic chat and I really understand a lot more about what he does. I also caught up with, I'll just share with you, we've got a private Facebook group as part of Justice Chamber Collective groups. And there's a photo that I caught up with Rachel from Crazy Cat Copy. And amazingly, I found out that she's a solicitor. She's worked as a solicitor for 10 years. She's got amazing experience. And yeah, it's something I never really knew about Rachel. So, and she also plays the jazz trumpet. So it's just good to get to know people one-on-one. Any questions there about the agenda? Feel free. I'd love to, or anything I've covered so far. All right, so I've got a question here from Jeff. Jeff, do you want to just unmute yourself? You've got here, how are the groups chosen? So Suzanne said here, Rachel is one very underestimated lady. Okay, so the way the groups are chosen, I'll actually go through that next slide. So let me do that, Jeff. So other quick points of info. There are going to be 3 leadership roles. There's a leader, a co-leader, and a secretary. The co-leader is basically the leader in training. So the idea is that after a 6-month stint in these roles, then the leader will hand over the role to the co-leader, and then we'll get a new secretary as well. But I really do want to make sure that there is hardly any admin or anything onerous for the leadership team. We'll be coordinating things centrally and providing that support to all of the leaders in all of the groups. I also want to organise a short monthly meeting of all of the leaders in the different groups, and that'll be just over Zoom, just to discuss how things are going. I am also planning to hold combined meetings between the groups, maybe a quarterly lunch, for example. So my aim is to have 4 or 5 groups running by the end of the year. And so we might have, with 15 people in each, it means bringing people together for a lunch, might have 40 or 50 people at a lunch, and where we can, just cross-pollinate ideas and meet each other across those groups. Another initiative or an idea, and this comes from my experience in BNI, is to create power teams. So these are teams of people or people that have work in similar industry spheres. So it could be finance industry, or it could be construction and trades. It could be health and wellness, where we team up with other people across the different groups, and not necessarily within our own group, because there's only 15 people to choose from, but other people, and not just within the Chamber collective groups, it could be within the Chamber broader membership, and just create opportunities to meet and build those relationships across your industry groupings. I've shown you the private Facebook group, and as I mentioned, there's an expectation that people commit to attending. Do I have anything else? I don't think I've covered Jeff's. Yes, so here we go. How to join and how the membership works. So this is open to gold and platinum members, and it was interesting to see that out of the 14 members that we have in the first group that launched last week, I think 12 of those were silver, and they've upped their membership to gold so they could be part of these groups. And there's a couple of people who are already gold who've joined the groups. So it has proven to be something that people see value in and are keen to join. And the way the groups are created, just to answer Jeff's question, when we had the original launch information session, we asked people who are interested and who are definites and who are maybes, and we asked them what would be a good time slot. We had Thursday mornings earmarked, so some people said yes, yes, yes. Others said no, Thursday mornings don't suit, and we asked them what was a good time that would suit them. A lot of people put down a time other than the morning because they're busy with kids and whatever else, which is fair enough. I totally understand that. So the next group that we're looking at launching will be a lunchtime group. We're not sure what day is yet, and we can obviously work out with people when they're available. So it's really first in, best dressed. Those that put up their hand first, and I've kept a track of those people, they will get first option. And if there's obviously 2 mortgage brokers that want to join the group, it'll be the one who's put up their hand first to do that. So it's pretty simple, really. And as I said, it's one per industry. If there's a bit of overlap between two different people, then we'll need to discuss that with the existing member and see how comfortable they are in having that person join. Otherwise, we'll be creating new groups as we progress all of this. So there'll be definitely opportunities. For example, we've got a financial planner in the Thursday morning group. There's another financial planner that's put his hand up for the lunchtime group. And there's another financial planner I just met recently who is also keen, but yeah, he'll have to wait for that third group. So questions. That's my next slide, I think. So I might just invite everyone to unmute themselves and we can just have a general chat.
So my question would be for those areas where there are a lot of people in those industries who network, for example, business coaches, brokers, those types of things, you're really going to be limited to offering that opportunity to however many groups you have.
Correct.
Being maybe 4 or 5 would be the maximum that would be able to participate in overall.
Correct. Now we've modeled our groups on the Hills Chamber, and they've been very they've been very open at sharing their model with us. They have 10 plus groups running, and even though they're based in the Hills, they actually have a couple of groups running in the city because they've got quite a few members who have in the city. So we may get to that stage, but I'm just aiming for 4 or 5 by the end of the year, and then we'll see where things go from there. But you're right, Suzanne. It'll be first and best dressed, really.
Yeah.
Now, business coaches, there's not a lot around, to be honest. It's myself and Charles. We network a lot individually, but there's not a huge number. But definitely mortgage brokers, financial planners, those types of even printers. I know printers generally do really well in these types of groups. Not that this is a referral group, but everyone needs a printer, everyone needs an accountant, everyone needs a bookkeeper. I mean, there are a few of those that obviously automatically get additional business. But I do have to stress that is not the purpose of these groups. These groups are really to help you become better at business, to share ideas, overcome challenges, and really accelerate that whole process of you learning about how to run your business better through shared experiences.
So technically, just going back to that same point that I just made, the people that inverted commas miss out would be encouraged to join the power groups then?
Well, the thing is with the power groups, let's say there's a mortgage broker, they'll want to team up with a real estate agent, a conveyancer, and so on. And it'll really be driven by the people who are already in the Chamber Collective groups. So yeah, we may look at, if there is a oversubscription in a particular industry, then we might even, we'll have to just play that by ear and work out whether we create a separate group for mortgage brokers to share issues and ideas, and hopefully people are happy to share and help each other out within an industry as well.
Well, this is what I'm thinking, if it's, I understand the whole limiting to 1 per industry, but certainly in the power groups, I can imagine that there would be opportunities for collaboration, which is where I see the strength of the power groups in the current structure. But I would also see opportunities for people to have a chance to offload additional work or to refer to someone else based on gender or personality or geography or something. So I think there is an opportunity. Obviously, I expect it would probably be up to the members of the group, but I certainly think that there are benefits to having multiple people, particularly in those particular industry specific, we can help each other out, we always work together kind of collectives.
Yeah, and I think that's probably something that will be something we need to look at outside of the Chamber Collective. You know, even if we did have these Chamber Collectives and there were opportunities for mortgage brokers that are members to work together, then we'd encourage that anyway. But right, it might highlight the need for that even more if people feel like they can't get into one of these groups.
Yeah, well, it's probably not something that needs to be addressed right now when you're in a startup phase.
No,
it was just
something to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Any other questions about what I've covered?
You have a special group, Anil, for all those that missed out. I call it the missed out group or something.
Well, I think what will happen, the way the Hills does it is when a second group or a new group starts, a few of the members from the existing group go to the new group to help, and then there are spaces opened up in that original group, and that's just to help the new group kick off with some experienced, like people who know how the agenda works and how to generate conversations and discussions and that type of thing. So yeah, but we'll see what happens when we look at starting our second group, whether a few people from the first group do want to move to a lunchtime instead of the morning. And it is only every fortnight, so it's not as onerous as some weekly groups that are around. And in terms of breakfasts and paying for breakfast and whatever, what we are doing at the coffee club is people can you pay for whatever you order. So some people just having coffees. I had a nice cooked breakfast last Thursday morning. Any excuse for me, but really it's really up to everyone what they want to pay for and what they want to buy. The coffee club's not charging us any venue costs because they're obviously selling breakfasts. So it's a really good setup there. We'll see what we can do about lunch as well. Lunch is busier down there, so but I'm sure we can find a quiet day where they're happy for us to take ownership of that back room. Any other questions?
Not so much a question, but just a response to Suzanne. Yes, I'm a business coach and I do network, but my reason for wanting to join, as I spoke to you earlier on, Anil, is that I want to develop some courses, and it would be very good to have input from people in as to what that type of content could be and where it goes. So yes, there is networking, but there's also other aspects of what I would want to get out, which is not specifically aimed at networking and not aimed at me being a business coach, but me being, how do I actually get to train and set up a course? That was it, and help from other people.
Yeah, and that reminds me of. I'll just bring up the agenda that I had for the last for the meeting that we held. You can see it up on screen here. I actually did allow a little longer for that first meeting, just so everyone can get to know each other. We didn't really have any of these member presentations filled, so we had a bit of time. But one of the questions of the discussion topic was, what do each of us want to get from the Chamber Group? I think it's quite, and it was really quite enlightening. A few people said, well, they're working at home. They just need an opportunity to get out of the house and just connect with other people and discuss and have an opportunity to discuss issues. So it was quite a good open conversation about what people wanted to get out of the group and why they're joining.
I think that's very valid for solopreneurs. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and sometimes you're banging your head against a brick wall, and sometimes you just feel like you never can talk to anybody who knows really what you're talking about. So just the fact of having an opportunity to mingle, and in a smaller collective like that, where you can really get to know people rather than rocking up to the chamber necessarily. It's always a bit hard to introduce yourself if you're not an extrovert.
And you can see the type of people who are in there now. Obviously, myself in the first one, physio, insurance brokers. So it's and it's not just solopreneurs. You know, Chris runs 2 different physio practices. Action Insurance is the Penrith arm of a you know, quite a large broking group. Justin from Chill IT, they've got 25 plus staff. Quest Apartment. So there was a good mix, and some of those people who are in larger businesses, they wanted to just share their experience, and you know, a lot of people obviously learn by sharing as well, and you know, it's a good mix of people.
100%. One of the best ways to teach, to learn, is to teach.
So if that's if there's no other specific questions, I might just wrap that up. Anything else before I do that?
Well,
So just,
yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, so just to clarify, in terms of the costing,
Mm-hmm.
you need the gold or platinum membership for the chamber, and then you are entitled to apply to join a group. And then once you're part of a group and you attend meetings, then the only cost involved is whatever food or beverage you purchase at the meeting. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. And
Okay.
and there's obviously we don't expect someone to upgrade in the hope of joining a group. We'd rather, you know, we secure you a place in a group first if you decide that that's what you want to do, and then only will we charge you the upgrade fee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I paid up front.
Well, we'd already discussed that you wanted to join, and we'll definitely.
I don't know, just pull your leg.
We'll have that lunchtime one running ASAP, just for you, Charles.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Any other quick questions, Jeff? You were going to ask something?
Oh, look, it was just really, I suppose, a sharing. I guess that one of the things which I've learnt in being in a networking group, and you know who that is, Anil, is that obviously, you know, we come to meetings, and behind that is the sense of, you know, there is something we want from the meeting. Mm-hmm. But I think these meetings are only successful if we want something, it really then means that there's people there that are giving. And I think that the giving aspect is very important, I think, in coming to these meetings, so that people benefit, and thinking about, well, you know, the contribution, you know, what kind of contribution can you make? And I think if that is, you know, understood and the mindset of people, that you're going to the meeting not just to get something, but, you know, what can I bring, what can I give? Yeah. And if that can form part of your agenda, I think they can be very successful. So that, you know, I'm sure you're aware that, you know, some things that have been set up in the past by various people, you know, become sort of coffee meetings, and they get a little bit watered down. But if there's some structure like you've got here, and the whole,
I think it's important to have that structure, but you
right.
can see from this agenda, there's a lot of time for discussion, and unlike other groups that are, you know, quite successful in their own right, because, you know, that's what works for them, but those groups don't have any time really for discussion. So you can see here we've got, you know, 15-minute time for discussion topic there, and then an open forum of 20-25 minutes. So there's a lot of time for discussion, and we'll monitor this and see how we can best engage with people. Jeff, there's another thing that you mentioned about giving, and that's why this slide back here, it's not really for BDMs. You know, it's not for salespeople. It's really for people who are running a business or managing a business. They don't need to be the business owner, but they need to be someone who's managing the business and you know, want to learn. They may not have experience, they may not be able to contribute as much as others, and they may be in a role where they are moving up and preparing for management. As long as they're in that stream of role rather than a purely sales role, then I think this is, obviously a very good fit.
Great initiative, Anil.
All right, we better wrap that up. So I really appreciate you attending and engaging and asking questions. It is unfortunate that we had a bit of a mix-up with the webinar link for this, but definitely recording this, and we'll get this out to everyone. So thanks, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing you at the next Chamber event, which is on the 11th, I think. That should be a good one down at the Penrith Regional Gallery.
Thanks, Anil. I really appreciate you putting us together. And it was, as I originally said, it was the reason, seeing this come up was the reason why I actually decided to join Penrith out of several that I was looking at.
Oh, good. Excellent. That's great, great feedback, Charles.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Anil.
well,
Fantastic.